You keep getting asked the same questions over and over again. Most founders think this is just part of their job, but the reality is you haven't created the correct systems. I learned this while scaling my team to over 75 employees. In this video, I'm gonna quickly show you how to download your brain into an AI system so that way you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again. I built a really simple 6-step process that scales across whatever you're trying to do, whether you need to build an internal knowledge base for your team or you need to build out your own softwares and tools that take action in the real world. Now, the first piece of this and what's most important is understanding what's actually taking up time, what's the needy piece of your business, where do you want to start first? And the reason why this is so important is because if you build robust systems around things that aren't actually taking up your time, you're wasting resources doing that. So you want to look at your time, your day, maybe even do a time study and determine what questions am I being asked over and over again? What department would I like to improve that will actually grow the business? Now, once you figure that out, you can move to the next step. For this example, we're going to use a sales team, assuming more setters and BDRs who are going to have a lot of questions as leads ask them. So as they ask a question, they obviously need an answer, and there's literally 1,000 ways to ask the same question. And that's something we noticed with our team is really they were asking the same 2 or 3 questions over and over again, but they were asking it in different ways. And so we needed to create a system that they could just type and say, hey, okay, here's the question, how do I answer it? And it's really quite simple. Once you determine where that focus is, the next piece is you need to document that system. So for me, I'm more auditory. There's a couple ways to do this. I want to keep it as simple as possible and as few tools as possible. So you can use either Loom, ChatGPT, you can do an audio recording, and then you transcribe it and turn it into an FAQ. All right, we're recording on Loom, and I'm gonna just transcribe what I want to do. Now we're using that sales example, so I'm gonna answer some of the most common questions my team might have. One of the questions I get asked the most is, do we offer guarantees? And so with Founder Systems AI, the course and community that I work for, I help business leaders get out of their own way so they can go into growth mode. Basically, we do offer guarantees. So as part of that course and community, we have a 30 days, no questions asked guarantee. So if they ask, just say, yes, we absolutely have a guarantee. We also guarantee that you'll reclaim at least 10 hours in your week, or just ask for that refund. Now, another question they might ask is, how do I sign up? So to sign up, you can go to school, check out the Founder Systems AI course and community, or grab the link down below. Hint. And then they say, well, do you have any sample stuff? Can I see some of your materials? Absolutely. You can grab our SOP templates, things like that at this domain, blah, 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 which is also down below, by the way. So I'm gonna grab that. Again, I'm just actually trying to show you every step because I don't want this to be arbitrary. I actually am reshooting this because one of the things I realized was I was talking very hypothetical. I was saying use Loom, copy this, and I wanna show you those steps. All right, so I put in there, hey chat, turn this into an FAQ based on what you know about Founder Systems AI. And I'm gonna basically just grab this. I'm not gonna pay too much attention to what it comes out to. And that's step 2 is we're documenting our process. So we want this to answer the best way possible as how we would answer. So this is really enough information. So then I'm just gonna go to Google Docs. So I do recommend that you have an owner to this document. So it could be you, but ideally it'd be the salesperson that's actually running this so they keep it up to date. And then in my course, and I have other videos, we actually teach how to keep these super organized. But just as a note, basically we keep it all in one location and we give it a file name and we have like a master file document. So let's just call this file 1, Founder Systems AI. Okay, so we've named this document. I'm gonna go ahead and also download this document. So I just have it to my computer so we can use it a little bit easier. So now let's go back to our step process. So assume we spent more time getting really, really good answers and we detailed that document. And again, I would just use Loom and have the questions in front of me and start answering them the way I naturally would speak, and then put it into the AI, have it do its thing, give me a document, and then I'm ready to implement the actual brain. So we just basically documented the brain, and now we're educating an AI system. So now we want to implement this. So we're gonna use NotebookLM. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and upload that document. So go to my downloads, and here's the document. Now the nice thing is you can add a lot of sources to this. You can also link to YouTube videos, you can link to your website. So if we go back to those sources, all you'd have to do is come here and figure out which source you want to add. And they continuously update this, so it's really, really powerful. I think on the free version it says right here we get 50 documents. On the paid version it's like 600. And you can make these documents massive. So it's really kind of unlimited, and you can link directly to your drive. So now the trick here is we're gonna come in and we're gonna edit how this outputs. So I always like shorter answers, and then I wanna customize this. So I use ChatGPT when I'm making any of my prompts. So I'll come in here and paste that in. You'll notice that we have a pretty big prompt window, meaning we can ask a lot more details in here. So now we'll come in and we'll say save. So now this customizes how our answers are being created. So now if I just want to know what to say if a lead asks if we have a guarantee, I'll hit enter and it should be in there because we answered it. So let's take a second while it's answering, and it says yes. Okay, the first day, no questions asked, money back guarantee, boom. And then it even references where that's pulling from in the document. So if this FAQ was super clean, they could actually go to that core document, which is super powerful because we're just building this layer of information so they can get deeper and deeper into this. So as we get in here, we can obviously ask any other questions we want. We can save it as a note. We can then have our team modify it, update it. If you link to Google Drive, you get more access to kind of quickly change back and forth. But there are some really cool things. So in Gemini, now with NotebookLM, you can actually reference that. So your team can reference multiple knowledge bases too. So if you have one about your service, about different functions, they can come in here, and I just linked to that, and then I can ask questions. So I can do more research in here and get different answers and just make little tweaks. And so maybe for sales, this isn't as important, but for operations or for idea generation, things like that, it becomes super powerful, especially as you link multiple NotebookLMs together. Now, we've basically done the hard part. We've downloaded our brain, but we haven't done anything that our team, they don't really know how to use this yet. We haven't trained them, we haven't educated them, we haven't done that change management. So before we do that, really quickly, I wanna show you over here, there are some cool other features where you can set up a podcast, you can make infographics. That infographic that I'm using right here is actually NotebookLM. Pretty cool. And I just updated my brain into it and asked it to create that infographic. Mind maps are really powerful. Every time I do a video on NotebookLM, I get asked about mind maps because what we can do is the more information we do there, we can kind of move through the process. And again, the idea is getting your brain out there. And the same thing here is you can prompt these. So I just did the mind map. It was really quick because there's only one source, but it's gonna show you kind of how you get through to specific things. So core purpose, you can come in here, systems, operations. So again, as part of Founder Systems AI, we teach business owners how to systemize their business so they kind of get out of their own way and are allowed to actually scale and go into the role they want to be in. So there, it gave us an answer based on the mind map. So again, just crazy power, but let's just jump into the next step here. So we've now implemented our brain into NotebookLM. Now the advantage is, and I'm not gonna go into this because it's a different video, but we can use this into basically softwares now. So the more documentation you have, the more of your brain you put into systems, whether it's standard operating procedures, FAQs, even your internal documentations like handbooks, client onboarding information, you can educate these brains to take action. So one of the actions that my team did is we get a lot of incoming emails asking about our service. And so I took all of these FAQs, to stick with the same example, and I took that document and I connected it to my Gmail using Zapier, which again, it's actually very simple. It's like 3 nodes. And then what it does is it drafts that reply for me. So I don't want to go into this in more depth because I do have other videos. And if you want to have specific examples, go ahead and leave a comment and ask me to create a video for you. But the idea is that building these knowledge bases or this knowledge is the key piece, because you can implement any system as quickly as you can upload it and put a simple prompt of what it's supposed to do. So if I wanted to go into use this exact knowledge in ChatGPT or Claude, I could literally just copy this. So take my prompt, copy that and put it in. And then same thing here is, I think I can even re-download this. No, I can't. So you would definitely want to save your sources, and we teach an organized way to do that. But you can implement that into any other platform. And that's really the magic, because you can build these workflows that don't even rely on people in the future, or at least make their jobs significantly easier. Now, the next piece of this is ensuring change management. So we have to have a training system. So obviously what we're gonna do is, now we have our BDRs, we're gonna give them this link. So at my companies, we use something called a standard or a daily SOP. So we would link this into their daily SOP. But again, I don't want to overcomplicate this because this is specifically about creating that brain. So in here, we would just want to give them that document, say, hey, this is part of your daily task. So as you respond to these leads, make sure to use this resource to get the correct answers. And then the key piece is if these questions keep getting pushed back onto you, they're not using the system. So you have to be part of that change management and say, okay, well, I know that that's in the new system, so go ahead and check there. If you can't find the answer, screenshot yourself doing it, send me the answer it's giving you, and then I'll be able to go ahead and update it for you. So this is the key piece of actually making this useful, is your team has to know how to use it. Now, finally, and this is where systems really start to compound like capital and give you more and more freedom and success and allow you to take the journey you want into a leadership role, into an ownership role, or if you just really like something like content creation, allow you to do what your passion is repeat the process. So with that, we're gonna come all the way back here and determine the next needy piece of our day or our business so we can implement a new system just like this. So whether it's just a new document. So we've covered the BDRs and now they're really happy, but operations consistently has an issue with this process. That's what we would document next. So don't document just a document as it's needed. I hope you like content like this. I do have the SOP examples down below, a time study example down below for free. If you're interested in learning how to get out of your own way and systemize your business, you might want to check out the Founder Systems AI course and community, and I would appreciate a subscribe. Thank you.